Hi, Jennifer. This is Dean Butler. I played Almanzo Wilder on Little House on the Prairie, and your friend Amy reached out to me and she said, first off, my friend, that's you, and my friend and I are huge Little House fans. We have so many Little House discussions. I wonder what your Little House discussions are about. What do you talk about with Little House? You know, there certainly is a lot that can be talked about with Little House. It's a timeless classic. It's something that people have loved for generations, first as a book and then later as a television show. You know, Laura published her first book in 1932 at the age of 65 and went on to write her other books almost one a year until she was done. And those books have resonated with audiences here in the United States and all over the world for decades and decades and decades. And they are likely to continue to do that because they speak of something which is fundamental and basic to the human experience. They speak of goodness and decency and kindness and thoughtfulness and gratitude for whatever. You know, Laura lived in a very difficult time for people generally. Now, Jennifer, I don't know where you live, but I think of the times, and this is I'm relating this, so I'm going to make it. This is really about weather. But I can think of the times through the years, and I've been associated with the program for 41 years now. I can think of the times I've traveled to the Midwest and, you know, in December, January, February, and experienced just the brutal cold that can happen in that part of the country. And when I speak of that part of the country, I'm thinking about Minnesota, South Dakota, Kansas, Iowa, northern New York State, if you're a Farmer Boy fan, how cold it could get there. Well, the big woods of Wisconsin, where which Laura wrote her first book, just bitterly cold in Wisconsin, you know, in those winter months. And I just think of how did these people survive this? How did they? And we have insulated homes and we have pretty well insulated clothing, and you know, most of us have heat that we can count on and warm water and so on. And when you think of what the Ingalls and everyone like the Ingalls had to do in order to survive, it's a remarkable thing that, at least from our perspective, living in the world that we live in today, it's a remarkable thing that they got through it, that they survived, and that they were able to go on and have decent lives. And they didn't all get through it, but the Ingalls did get through it by hook or by crook. It was not easy for them. I think they really did struggle. But what Laura writes about is this, and the way she writes about it, she writes struggle with great hope and optimism, and with a lack of, there's no bitterness in it. You know, she faces the struggles that she faces with, it would seem, now, and this is a story, so she's writing it, but she's made very conscious decisions in the way that she writes about the struggles that she and her family faced, to write them in a way that doesn't blame anybody or any situation that has befallen them for the things that happen. It's what happens to her is life. It is life as it's coming at them. And the Ingalls, Laura and her family, have they really have, you know, a few choices. They can embrace what comes at them and do their very best with it, or they could give up. And I think we all know that Laura didn't give up. Laura wasn't a give up kind of person. That just wasn't what she was about. It's not what she wrote about. It's not what she encouraged in her life. You know, before Laura wrote the Little House book, she wrote a series of columns for the newspaper in Mansfield, Missouri. And it was about, it was a column written by a farmer's wife. And she wrote about everything. She wrote about raising chickens and raising crops and polishing silver and, making clothing. Whatever it was, Laura wrote about it in this hopeful, encouraging way that didn't sugarcoat it, but didn't complain about it either. I think that's one of the things that, as a reader and as someone who's been touched by this material, that I just have enormous respect for, is the way that she was able to view the world in such positive terms, even though things were rarely easy for her or her family, for her father and mother and her sisters. Life was, at least to look at it, taking away the warm wrapper she writes it in. It was a hard time. And I know that, Jennifer, I know that you're getting ready to face a hard time. Your friend Amy told me that you're getting ready to start chemotherapy. And, I've had my small bouts with skin cancer, multiple occasions. Virtually everyone I know and many family members have had cancer of one sort or another. I can say gratefully that the cancers that we faced have been more skin cancer than anything else. Although my father-in-law just passed from the effects of colon cancer. So it is a challenging, cancer is a challenging thing in your life. And so many of us face it in one form or another. And the key to it, as far as looking from my point of view, my life experience with cancer, is that you have to be proactive, you have to step up, you have to make decisions for yourself and move forward aggressively, doing everything that you can do in order to deal with this, what can be a very aggressive illness. And the fact that you're starting chemotherapy says that you are taking a very aggressive stand moving forward, to doing your best to come out on the other side with a life that you can move forward with and do what you want to do and have the experiences that you want to have. I wish you all the best with that. Not an easy path, but when you look at it, what are the options? There is no option but to go forward and put your best foot forward and be positive and hopeful about what's going to happen. I found a poem, a Raymond Carver poem called Happiness. And I don't know that I'm going to read it with all the right pausing, but I like the message of the poem. And it's not about it. It's the writer's observations of two boys in the morning delivering the paper. But I think it's, it just, I don't know, it spoke to me for a second. So I'm going to share it with you, and I hope it's happened for you. Happiness by Raymond Carver. So early, it's still almost dark out. I'm near the window with coffee and the usual early morning stuff that passes for thought, when I see the boy and his friend walking up the road to deliver the newspaper. They have on caps and sweaters, and the one boy has a bag over his shoulder. They are so happy. They aren't saying anything, these boys. I think if they could, they would take each other's arm. It's early in the morning, and they are doing this thing together. They come on slowly. The sky is taking on light, though the moon still hangs palely over the water. Such beauty that for a minute, death and ambition, even love, doesn't enter into this. Happiness. It comes on unexpectedly, and it goes beyond, really, any early morning talk about it. If you want to read the poem again, Jennifer, again, it's called Happiness by Raymond Carver. And it says that there is happiness, happiness is an attitude, and it's how you choose to take on each day. And that's in your hands. And I wish you luck with it. And while you're dealing with your chemotherapy, I'm sure you're being very careful about the current situation we're in with COVID-19. Hope you're washing your hands and wearing your mask and maintaining your social distancing, and love and care for those around you, and let them love and care for you. And good luck with what you are facing. I hope it goes well for you. Maybe we'll communicate again. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.